African.
Hello, you're welcome to another insightful edition of Diplomatic Affairs. My name is Harriet Nartey. This is the only show that brings you happenings within the diplomatic community in Ghana and around the world. I will be taking you all the way to the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, where the Institute, in partnership with the Konrad Adenauer Think Tank, organized the 2021 conference series on the African Continental Free Trade Agreement to discuss the implications of the free trade and, of course, the opportunities that come with it, and also how they can put leaders, African leaders can put in place the right framework to ensure that AfCFTA benefits the people of Africa. So it was a very fruitful event, and trust Diplomatic Affairs to be present to bring you all that is happening when it comes to diplomacy, foreign affairs, international relations. And in this case, we are talking about African diplomacy when we talk about the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which is supposed to create jobs and, of course, also bring together some 1.3 billion people together to do business. So we were there, and here you are. Let's take you to the campuses of the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration.
The Progressive Women's Show is that space for frank, open, honest, provocative, perhaps even revolutionary conversations about today's woman.
If you go to the banking sector, there are people there who want to sleep with you before they give you a job. If you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a civil servant, there is someone who will say, oh, I can get it for you easily. All you have to do is drop your pen.
It was something that was demanded of me. My editor, my news editor in the newsroom, thought if I don't pull down my skirt, I was not going to be put on air.
I am yet to come into contact with anybody asking me to sleep with him to go on TV. I will not sleep with any man for a position. I will sleep with a man I want to sleep with for the pleasure of it.
When governments come to power and they say that the women are not showing dynamism and the women, for me all that, forgive my Latin, this time of the day, all that is bullshit.
I practice public speaking in church. Okay. I practice service in church. I practice leadership in church. So those are things that's why the church is important in our lives.
And that's how you do it. It's so not buy Range Rover and do so for them.
And do what? Takes me right there.
In church.
When you mention Jesus, you don't have to say Jesus. You can just say Jesus.
Well, they say it's a man's world out there, isn't it? Unfortunately, I don't know why, because we seem to be doing all the work. They are the head and we are the neck. Excuse me, can you be a head without a neck?
No, please. No, please.
Yeah.
Well, hey, ladies, let's continue to hold up the sky.
I'll give you a quick background. This was a partnership with the Konrad Adenauer Foundation from Germany. So they have been a partner with us on various activities over the last 2-3 years. And we've been talking about how we could best work together to contribute to democracy and development in Ghana and across Africa, really. So this is the second of 2 events that we've held. The first one focused on migration and development, the impact of migration on development. And this is the second in the series. Going forward in the next year, we plan to have one every other month to focus on a topical issue of relevance to Ghana, Africa, and the world at large. So that is what prompted this discussion. We realized the import of AfCFTA into African lives, and going forward how AfCFTA might be of value to all of us. And so we decided that we're going to bring together experts to debate the merits, the costs, the direction, and perhaps have some ideas that policymakers could look at into making sure that it succeeds for the benefit of Ghana and the benefit of Africa and the world at large. So the idea is to understand each other and to facilitate African integration and cooperation for betterment of our peoples.
Now, as director of GIMPA, how is this going to impact the lives of students here at GIMPA?
Well, let me put it in a different way. We were born for this. GIMPA was set up some 60 years ago with a focus on supporting the government and developing a civil service. So we're basically equipping them with the necessary capacity, and that is what we do. We have, with the mandate in 2004, we moved on we took on additional responsibility to create programs for the private sector. And we are not going to abandon that. That is a part of who we are. But our primary focus at the time then, or when we were set up, was to look at policy issues. And so we are trying to re-engage with the public sector, with the various ministries, with various individuals and entities in order to contribute what we can, our expertise, our knowledge and other resources to facilitate discussions that are of relevance to national interest. And so for GIMPA students, this is an exposure to really, walking the talk. You know, we can talk a lot about diplomacy, we can talk a lot about free trade, we can talk about a lot of things. But when students see and hear what people are actually doing, you know, conflicts about negotiations, conflict about costs, mobility, and all these issues, they came up. We may talk about them in the classroom, but when you hear a practitioner give you examples of how these things work, it's a little different. You have a very different appreciation for the whole thing. So for the benefit of lecturers, for the benefit of administrators, for the benefit of students, and for anybody who listened, because we were online, there is value to it. We are seeing the real things relative to the theories that we are usually exposed to in the classroom.
Let's talk about digitalization in the integration of the African continent.
Well, this week, I think, is the Digital Week, something championed by the Office of the Vice President of the Republic. We were invited to be a part of it. We had a digitization and its impact, or its relationship to AfCFTA. So we were at the International Conference Center to talk about that, and it was quite interesting. We live in a digital world. There is no doubt about that. No, there is nothing more that we can do beyond digitization, really, to be a part of the global economy. So we are looking at digitization as an avenue for being a significant part of AfCFTA. The way we are now as an economy or as a society, we cannot get very far if we don't get into the digital world. You know, so digitization is effectively the vehicle available to us to champion our development going forward.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us, and congratulations on a successful two-day event. I hope this is really going to impact the lives of students, not just on the campuses of GIMPA, but students all over Ghana and even across the borders of Ghana.
Thank you very much. I really hope so, that we have an impact on students, we have an impact on policies, we have an impact on policymakers, and the government and others who work within the government were listening to some of the ideas that were shared. And we hope that we'll have better opportunities or other opportunities to also share our thoughts and ideas on many other issues, not just on AfCFTA. And as I say, that is what GIMPA was born to be. And we hope that we'll continue to be that and grow into becoming even better. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you.
You're welcome. You know a lot when it comes to diplomacy. I'd like to ask you, what is the role of diplomacy and negotiations in the African Continental Free Trade Area?
All right. I believe it's a critical perspective to bring onto how the Africa Continental Free Trade Area can materialize. You know, more often than not, we hear people talking about the financial, economic, technical aspect, but we forget about the fact that, you know, this is a relationship amongst nations. And by that same factor, we're talking about sovereign nations. By that same factor, there's the need to navigate between interests. And I said today that there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies, but we do have permanent interests. And so countries go with those interests, even into a multilateral setup as AfCFTA. And so you have to be able to negotiate and discuss issues in order to achieve the objectives for which the organization was set up. If you are not able to do that, then as Kissinger said, you know, diplomacy is the art of negotiating the interests of different states, that the use of negotiation rather than force. So if you can't use negotiation, that means you are going to force. How are you going to force countries to do what they don't want? I mean, you are leaving the terrain of peace to war, and war cannot build anything.
So negotiation and diplomacy are two key ingredients in the operationalization of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Absolutely. You know, without negotiation, it's impossible to realize the objectives of the AfCFTA. And negotiation is a critical part of diplomacy. You know, so in order to achieve the objectives for which AfCFTA has been set up, we have to be able to negotiate. And so that means that we need to train the negotiators. We need to give our diplomats negotiation skills to know what to do at any particular time and be able to help nations, you know, narrow down their differences and be able to highlight their communalities, their common interests. And that is very important undertaking.
Ambassador, my last question will be, we have 40 African countries who have ratified the Free Trade Pact with, I think, 15 more to go. Now, how can we use this instrument to get them to also get on board so we can move together?
You see, again, you know, the issue here, or the key to unlock this, is again negotiation. You know, we have to make them understand that their interest is with joining the organization called AfCFTA, rather than staying away from it or out of it. If you are able to convince them, if you are able to gain their concurrence and their understanding that yes, this thing will work well for me or will work towards achieving my interest, then you are very close to getting them to join. But it takes a bit of trying. If they have not joined yet, maybe, you know, we need to work harder at that, and we need to have trained diplomats, trained negotiators to go into that, you know, doing that. And that's all what I've been trying to sell today, as it were.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure, Harriet.
Polygamy does not know adultery. So you should.
Polygamy knows. I disagree.
Wait a minute.
Polygamy
Wait a minute.
If you are not 25, you have no business driving a commercial vehicle.
The only person who can take your driver's license and retain it must be a police officer of the rank of inspector and above.
Using office hours to engage in social media is a ground for you to be what? Dismissed.
When you are raped, you can justifiably walk into any government hospital or a licensed medical facility for an abortion.
A will takes effect only after the person is dead.
Pure cocaine is not addictive. What is addictive is when it's adulterated.
Join the Law Express panel this and every week as we delve into all these relevant topics.
Law Express, Mondays at 7:15 p.m. and a repeat on Thursdays at 5:45 p.m.
Well, it is obvious that Alhaji and Alhaji has no size. It has become the most popular talk show in this country and has reigned for more than 10 years. Next week, on the 18th of December, we will take the program to another level. On the premises of Pan-African Television, we invite all of our patrons and general public to participate directly in Alhaji and Alhaji. Come, listen to the various contributors and make your own comments known on the state of the economy, working parliament, everything, international relations and everything. Please join us next week Saturday, the 18th of December on the Alhaji and Alhaji talk show. Come with your friends to join this discussion at the premises of African Television at Abilimbe. Join us in discussing the issues of our time.
Into the land of freedom, He's the Redeemer.
The new capital is kindness, compassion, and empathy. It is about being patient and nurturing that capacity, because I may come back and not work for you, but I'm going to recommend to the next talent that this is a good place to go work. I am going to recommend your product and your services to another person because you have sown a seed in me as a person.
It takes a very considerate boss to actually listen to your opinion about something and not look at age and not look at experience and not look and just listen and maybe also do a little bit of research on their own and decide whether maybe this is something that we should look at.
My business partner and I, who is sitting right here, decided
I was
that
stuck.
we had to decide how do we scrape the bottom and make sure that everybody is comfortable. How do we cut our salaries so that everybody else is comfortable? You know, so those are some of the decisions that as a business you need to make, no matter how difficult it is.
I will say that there are over-present parents or available parents that are not present.
Okay.
That parents living with their children,
really deep.
24/7. They're really no.
It's not the length of time you spend with your children; it's the quality of time you spend with your children.
That's what I said.
And Ekwa said the same thing. Literally, she said it's not the length of time.
No.
You can be with your child from morning to night, 24. The whole week, the whole month, the whole year. What are they getting from that interaction?
Thank you.
To talk about this free continental, AfCFTA, as we call it, is, I would say, very important African architecture that has been developed. I believe very strongly that if we give it all that we have, we're likely to impact Africa and, for that matter, the world. Remember, we are 55 countries, 54 of them have signed, but then 44 of us of the same countries have actually ratified it. So ratification simply means that we've gone ahead from the whole idea of the signing, but rather now we are connected as others through integration. And so when we had the opportunity with the German embassy and GIMPA teaming up to come up with it, we all jumped.
at it. And I think that it is a wonderful opportunity to share knowledge across board and to help our students, basically, for them to understand, and of course the general public, to understand the whole business of regional integration, and for that matter, its impact on Africa, continental free trade area. By that, I many times like to say this, that I subscribe to the view that 70% of our trading was with Europe, 50% was with Asia. Africa, we don't trade amongst ourselves. We are just around 15.5 to 16%, which is abysmal. Therefore, the concept of capital flight is something that we need to work on, because money is not in a system. The money is going to Europe and is going to Asia. If Africa, we can just up the ante by, just trading amongst just about 20-25%, it's likely to impact our continent, youth unemployment, raising capital for economic activities generally and development and diversification of our economy would have been one of the most powerful things that I think we can do. So among some of the reasons I would say that we've done this, and we want to keep it up and ensure that we'll keep on sharing knowledge and then see to it that we change Africa and make it better.
Well, I hope that we are able to change Africa and make it better. Thank you very much for speaking to us. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, generally it's been noticed that a lot of times in Africa when we have programs like the Legon Plan of Action, NEPAD, etc., we don't have indicative and indices, indicators, and also monitoring mechanisms or evaluative mechanisms to assess the performance. They are generally just open-ended. So at the end of the tenure of those programs, it's very difficult to assess whether we've met the goals and objectives or the aim. So when you take the aims and objectives of those programs, they are very difficult. And there is a concern that the African continental free trade might also go in that direction, because a performance mechanism, an evaluative mechanism should have been incorporated in the whole agreement so that nations and countries or those who ratify it should comply, and we should be able to assess them and hold them responsible for where they've not achieved their objective. And even the free trade area as a whole should have clear objectives, and those objectives should be measurable. And that is where there are challenges that we need to look at it very carefully. If there's a way we can incorporate those performance indicators before we go too far in the implementation, it will be quite helpful.
What do you think about this program organized by GIMPA in collaboration with the German embassy?
Yes, I think it was timely. Oftentimes we wait too late to begin a sensitization and open discussion. And the fact that they've been able to bring in a lot of collaborators, a lot of participants from different backgrounds to articulate this is very, and to share in their opinion and their knowledge, expertise is very important. We hope that this will be expanded, so that the general public will have a feel, an idea of expectations of government, expectations of citizens, expectations of various institutions as to how to implement and to make it more useful to the citizenry, because ultimately the citizenry are the beneficiaries of this free trade. It's not government per se. The government are working on behalf of the citizen, and the government of Ghana has led very, very well up front on this. So how do the citizens participate? Businesses, traders, SMEs, etc., including technocrats, how do they work on this to ensure that the outcome is really reflective of the needs of the citizens of Africa?
Well, thank you so much.
Hello. What are you doing Tuesday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. every day? You should be watching The Couch. I'll tell you why. On Tuesdays, we talk social issues, lifestyle health, all those everyday issues that affect us in the big ways. Late Wednesdays are for book reviews. Thursdays are for the hard talk, those social, economic, policy-oriented, political questions that demand for the tough questions to be asked. And Personality Profiling Fridays, when we get to know the stories behind the winning personalities we love. Inspirational story from inspirational personalities. Hey, listen, you really cannot miss The Couch with me, Amma, but still the only TV show with a hat.
I work here for the Konrad Adenauer Foundation, which is a political foundation in Germany, which is from the Conservative Party, from the Christian Democratic Union. And we are doing a lot of political work in Germany. However, we also do some political work, international relations, all over the world. So we are having 150 offices all over the world.
150 offices, yes, all over the world.
All over the world.
And doing what?
Basically, our slogan worldwide is to promote democracy. So we are here to strengthen the democracy, help to build better relations between the Germans and the Ghanaian people. And yeah, we are basically, as I said, we are a conservative party. So in this country, we are basically working with the MPP. So we give them training, we support them. But besides that, we also give out scholars or do political events like this one.
What's your personal opinion about the African Continental Free Trade Area?
When this topic comes to my mind, I always feel like, how do I say it in a good perspective? I always feel like it's a little bit too much copied from the Europeans. So I feel like it's good that you look at other countries and other places and other regions, but you always have to feel and see, observe your system, see what can work, see what cannot work, and then you have to adapt. So this is like basically my broad opinion on the theme.
How do you find today's program?
Very nice. I think the program was just good. We had a lot of different important stakeholders. Everybody shared their view, and especially for me, who's somebody from Germany, always reading about these topics and not really talk to people and really hear their opinion face to face. This was an incredible good chance for me to finally get like a strong view about it.
Well, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you very much.
And I hope you enjoy your stay in Ghana.
I do.
What did you pick from the entire conference, talking about trade and regional integration, implications for AfCFTA?
Okay, thank you very much. So I really picked a lot because this is a new initiative, I think, and I know it's in the right direction. African leaders always give promises, and then implementation and enforcement becomes a problem. So yesterday, for example, the senior chair mentioned that our laws touches on every aspect of our lives, and yet enforcement is the problem. So my question is, what are we going to do as a country or as people, as citizens of Ghana in particular, not Africa, because you always start from somewhere. What can we do as a country to see to it that whatever we bring on board, implementation and enforcement should be key so that it will see the light of the day? Because if every day, today for example, we talked about AfCFTA, right? The African
Continental Free Trade Area.
Right. So it is a good initiative by the government. Dr. Apia Mensah Atta of Addis Ababa, in his presentation, he commended the president. Yes, it's a good initiative for Africa. It is an idea that our leaders, especially Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, brought. Mama Gaddafi and all the people of Africa, those good leaders. Today they are no more. But if we can get leaders to also emulate and then take interest in whatever they started, I think Ghana will go far.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Jamila.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, it is obvious that Alaji and Alaji has no size. It has become the most popular talk show in this country and has reigned for more than 10 years. Next week, on the 18th of December, we will take the program to another level. On the premises of Pan-African Television, we invite all of our patrons and general public to participate directly in Alaji and Alaji. Come, listen to the various contributors and make your own comments known on the state of the economy, working parliament, everything, international relations and everything. Please join us next week Saturday, the 18th of December on the Alaji and Alaji talk show. Come with your friends to join this discussion at the premises on African Television at Abilingbe. Join us in discussing the issues of our time.
Into the land of freedom, He's the Redeemer.
A new capital is kindness, compassion, and empathy. It is about being patient and nurturing that capacity, because I may come back and not work for you, but I'm going to recommend to the next talent that this is a good place to go work. I am going to recommend your product and your services to another person because you have sown a seed in me as a person.
It takes a very considerate boss to actually listen to your opinion about something and not look at age and not look at experience and just listen and maybe also do a little bit of research on their own and decide whether maybe this is something that we should look at.
My business partner and I, who is sitting right here, decided
I was
that we have to decide how do we scrape the bottom and make sure that everybody is comfortable. How do we cut our salaries so that everybody else is comfortable? You know, so those are some of the decisions that as a business you need to make, no matter how difficult it is.
I'll say that there are over-present parents or available parents that are not present.
Okay.
That parents living with their children,
that's really deep.
24/7. They're really no.
It's not the length of time you spend with your children, it's the quality of time you spend with your children.
That's what I said.
And Ekwa said the same thing, literally. She said it's not the length of time.
No.
You can be with your child from morning to night, 24, the whole week, the whole month, the whole year. What are they getting from that interaction?
Thank you.
All right, so all too soon, this is where time will permit us as we bring you happenings from the diplomatic community in Ghana and around the world. And I hope that you have enjoyed it. And of course, now you have information, so whatever happening around you. So, you know, every Saturday we are here to bring you the best with regard to diplomacy, foreign affairs, and international relations. I look forward to seeing you same time next week. Enjoy the rest of our programs and have a beautiful weekend.